Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It is so predictable. NATO, United States' moves in Ukraine are so predictable. The Ukraine's decisions are so predictable for me, thousands of miles away from the conflict. I said this before, and I'll say it again, and here you have the first signs that the Ukrainians, which is not a genius move, prepare to make it illegal for foreign armies to be deployed to have bases in Ukraine. So now they want what? Troops? No, NATO cannot have troops over there. And I say, well, no, we're preparing for the time when we get into NATO. You're not even there yet, but let's read this article coming from Russia Today. It says, Ukrainian defense minister wants law on foreign military bases changed. The move is needed to become a de facto member of the US-led bloc, Alexei Reznikov has said. This is one of the four little pigs, Reznikov, Zhmyhal, Yermak, and Zelensky. So, anyway, he is the Minister of Defense of the Ukrainian nation. Why not? And to become a de facto, he said it before that Ukraine is a de facto member, but not the jure, how you want to pronounce it. So not legally, but he is, actually. Ukraine needs to amend its constitution to allow the placement of NATO bases on its territory, Defense Minister Alexei Reznikov said on Monday. Why do you get ahead of your skis, my boy? The Article 17 ban on placing foreign military bases on Ukrainian soil is, quote-unquote, outdated, Reznikov claimed in an op-ed published by the outlet Liga. And I'm quoting, it is clear that, if necessary, a legal formula can be found so as not to call the base a base, but a kind of center of interaction and exchange of experience. But why? This is euphemisms, my friends. Those are volunteers. They're not, oh my God. Reznikov wrote, and I'm quoting again, we need to remove this restriction, which has lost its relevance, in order to destroy the ground for speculation. Why do you care, Reznikov? Moreover, the articles need to be, and I'm quoting, supplemented with a declaration that Ukraine, and I'm quoting again, independently chooses mechanisms to ensure its security, including by joining international treaties or organizations, end quote, which would, and I'm quoting again, more clearly reveal and normalize the idea of a European and Euro-Atlantic course, as stated in the preamble according to Reznikov. Article 17 also explicitly prohibits the use of the Ukrainian military, and I'm quoting, to restrict the rights and freedoms of citizens, and prohibits the creation and operation of an armed units not envisioned by law. Reznikov did not address those provisions, which Kiev has violated since 2014. So Reznikov is a lawyer, I think. Reminding his readers that he was a lawyer before he became defense minister in November 2021, Reznikov, well, there are good lawyers and there are bad lawyers. Reznikov wrote that on that occasion he publicly declared, and I'm quoting, joining NATO de facto as his policy objective, and claimed that last week a NATO summit in Lithuania achieved that. So, my friends, it says, U.S. bloc supplied Ukraine with over $100 billion worth of weapons, ammunition, and equipment just last year, going so far as to, this guy's reported it like 96, but doesn't really matter. Well, if you're a lawyer, that's why, let me give you this advice, which I also read it, and it makes sense in one of the books when I was looking for a job a long time ago. And it says, when you got an interview, don't necessarily, or when you interview someone, don't necessarily get the experience as being a strong point. So it's more important to say, well, these are my credentials. I graduated this, I graduated that, I'm a member of this. Instead of saying, well, I have 20 years experience in, dick, okay, but that could be a good experience or bad experience. It tells me that you've been involved in that, but I don't know how much you know. You ought to know certain things, but I don't know. So that experience could be bad experience or a good experience. That's why experience should not really matter too much. The same, this guy, I'm a lawyer. Yeah, but there are bad lawyers and good lawyers. Open your mouth, answer these questions, and I will see your process, how you think. And then I realize if you're a good lawyer or a bad lawyer. Now, bad lawyer means doesn't know the law and doesn't know how to argue. His brain is not fast, doesn't make the right connections. Just like he knows the law, but like, what's the answer here? Anyway, let's go back to these guys. Yes, why now? Why don't you wait until the war ends? What's the rush, baby doll? Well, I can tell you what's the rush. I think they want to do it legally in case they are found out. They say, yeah, but there's nothing illegal out here, so what's wrong with that? That's what it is. That's what I see it as being. They want, there was nothing illegal. We didn't break any laws here, right here. And actually, we do this with NATO membership in mind. I don't really think so. But if they do it, they do it. I mean, after all, they canceled possibly the elections next year, right, in Ukraine. Why? Because they're still at war. And since you have martial law, you can't organize elections. Anyway, I wonder why the United States still had elections after they declared war on terror. And the war on terror is still on, if I remember correctly. So under a war, do you have elections? Well, the Brits had, didn't they? During the Second World War. Why can't the Ukrainians? I think they had, didn't they? I think they had. If I remember correctly, I know. But it was Chamberlain and then it was, what's his name? Churchill. But those guys are... I don't even know. I don't know, but it was. But I can check that. But let me just go back to this article here. I think I just took care of it. Let me see if there were elections in Great Britain, which I think they were during the Second World War. No, there were no elections over there. Oops, like this. Due to the war right here. The election due by 1940 was not held due to war, Second World War. I knew this one right here, where unbelievably in 1945, Churchill was not elected. And it was strange, wasn't it? It was very strange. I knew about this one right here, but, well, I thought it was like 39 or something, 40, but I can't remember if it was 40. Nevertheless, I know that under war circumstances, elections are not held because it's a state of emergency. There's a martial law and all that. You can't have that in the middle of the war. But who knows? These guys are doing sometimes certain things, but let me check something else out. And hey, the United States held elections in 1944, which the United States was still at war. Because, first thing I thought, well, 1940, well, they were not at war in 1940, they were at war in 1941. December 7th? They declared war, I think, or 7 or 8. The 7 was the attack, I'm assuming 8. And here is 1944, Democratic Franklin won right here. So they held elections during a wartime. So I think, oh, I didn't show you? Hello, here it is. Here it is, 1944. And they were still at war at that time with Japan and Germany and whomever that was around, Italy as well, and not only. So here is, my friends, the point here is that Reznikov is getting ready, and is getting ready to have military bases, not to make it legal, which is going to happen. And I personally have a gut feeling that there are garrisons over there, called differently, euphemistically, as he said, with trainers or advisors or military instructors or military investigators. They investigate and find out where the weapons are going and all that to make everything is a la carte, clear and nice. So this is just legalizing it. Or maybe the other guys are about to say something and these guys say, oh, look at that. We got everything legal. See you. Never. I said it before, and it's obvious, my friends. It's so obvious and predictable. Why? because people did it before, and it's the normal course. What are you gonna do? Do this, do this, do this. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that they just come and say it right now, like that, like drawing attention. But other than that, no surprise here. Bring your guys. You already have the so-called volunteers that I suspect a lot of them come as foreign military, part of foreign military from armies, come to Poland. They change the epaulets, or they get a picture, volunteer, put over here with the name. If they got shot or captured, I'm a volunteer right here. But before in Poland, he just came as a yes sir, yes. That's, I have a gut feeling. We're gonna find more than a gut feeling that's what happens. And when you're gonna start hearing about the so-called Ukrainian troops trained in the Western countries, like about 60,000 or 40, 50, between 40 and 60,000, when they're going to start coming, somehow they're still training over there, practicing, they're instructed over there. When they start coming again, a lot of them will speak foreign languages. Just a gut feeling. And I'm waiting for the guys that already write books right now about this war, and they're just going to modify a little thing, but the books are written about the Ukraine war. Are written, and they need a green light from certain kind of decision making, if you know what I mean, to tell them, yeah, now you can publish it. Give it to us. They're going to review it and say no, yeah, questionable, and then they're going to be the first ones. Oh, whatever, bestseller. I know David Oppenheimer. Now there's that movie around. Well, I don't know, Mr. Jmihal writes a book and he's going to be bestseller, billionaire overnight. Billionaire not, but anyway, like Obama and others. So wrote a book, millionaire. Okay, good job. I like that. I mean, if people are interested in what you say, go ahead, right? But they are ready. And there are only a few that will be authorized to write the history first for about 10 years. So they make sure that the correct version of the war is instilled in the new generation and the weasels over there. And after they do that, they will say, okay, now second echelon of people can write, and then the first ones will be peer reviewed, will put in universities, and only those could be used for your paper. It's, when you make papers in, or you buy, PhDs or master degrees, or just as an undergraduate. It happened to me. When I went to college here in the States of America, I was making a paper and I said, oh my God, they gave us subjects, pop, items that you can pay. Oh my God, I want it. Man, freedom, man, America, yes. And I got over there, and because I knew about the subject a lot. So I started using my sources, to make a point, something else than these guys were teaching us in the school, in the university. And then when I submitted my paper, like a rough draft, the professor was like, you didn't use any peer-reviewed sources. You have to use them all peer-reviewed. Like I said, what? What? I said, yeah, he showed me, you enter this, you do this, and you get in a peer review. I know that, but if I just do it that way, that means I'm just, perpetrating the same idea, the same scenario, the same script. But those are peer-reviewed. These guys, I don't know who these guys are, because you're a dumbass. You don't know anything. You have a PhD, you don't know those guys, because again, you used only peer-reviewed. So then we just go around like dogs in a circle, behind the female dog, sniffing her. Yeah, basically, that's what they do in a college. Everything else is not peer-reviewed because we don't like what they say. Even if you bring the arguments, that's not acceptable. Oh, that guy, he said something, he doesn't like this kind of people, he must be bad. I don't care if he's got 2 balls or 20 balls or no balls. Whatever he wrote over there is factual or not, bring it in. No. I can give you a few examples of historians that I mentioned over there, and the guy said, no, not peer-reviewed, but you don't know anything. How do you want me to bring more stuff, more knowledge in this, if you just allow me to use the same sources that are approved by you guys, controlled by you guys? Don't tell me these are the geniuses and everybody else that you don't know of are not, because they're not peer-reviewed. Exactly, that's why you said, yeah, you gotta do it this way. So I did it, and my work was beep. That's how was my paper in that case. Like, cheers. I was so disappointed. That's why people who come here are very, very happy to come here, and little by little they find out that their freedom and their democracy and their capitalism and all that is better there where they came from, but is not near to what you, unless you're a dumbass and you don't understand shit. Yes, I'm free because you don't say anything. That's why you're free. We have free speech because you don't say anything that's outside of the peer-reviewed little. All right, I got sidetracked with this one. I can write books on this one. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.